Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad. Yesterday, I unfortunately brought a whole new world of CLOs to the world, closed-end funds, and I didn't describe some things that can occur with a closed-end fund, and that's why I might personally be making more in distributions than you. So let's talk about this real quick, and I want to shout out to this comment someplace that it was his question that made me start thinking about this book behind me that I read and I recommend everybody reading. It is a little bit outdated. He does have updated portfolios on Seeking Alpha, but you got to be a member. So unfortunately it's not public, but I can kind of get the gist of what he's investing in and what he's investing in by his articles that he publishes on Seeking Alpha. So to get right to it, somebody asked about ECC. I am not a fan of ECC. It pays 18%, but it drips at NAV, meaning the price is in black, NAV is in blue. So when I get my distributions, I get my distributions at the lower price. Then I can sell my 80%. That means I make the difference in money. Same thing can be said about OXLC. It drips at NAV. Look at the difference between price and NAV right now. It's huge. Fidelity will drip at NAV. Not all brokers will drip at NAV. Keep that in mind. That's your individual broker, and you need to do the research if they will drip at NAV for you. Fidelity drips at NAV. So this fund that I don't talk about, because it has NAV erosion, I made a video difference between capital erosion due to options trading and NAV erosion. They're paying you more than what they're actually making. That's true NAV erosion, 20%. That's why the price has dropped 40% in the last 5 years. But they're paying you 20%. So now it becomes what is the ROI on this? Because the ROI can be different because it's all about total return. Just keep that in mind. It's the same exact play as yield max. Does everybody realize NAV erosion has been around way longer than yield max? Let's say NAV erosion can actually be dated back 51 years with a particular fund. Just to let you know, NAV erosion is not new. What gets everybody, it's actually capital erosion with options trading because they don't understand it, compared to, I promise you, more than what I'm earning, so my NAV is going to go down. That is the difference between the two. And that's why I get a little fuzzy, because there's a huge difference between I promise you 20%, I only make 18%, but I want to pay you 20%. Where do you think that 2% came from? I'm going to link that capital erosion and NAV erosion video so you can go back and watch it, because that's where this plays into. Closed-end funds can drip at NAV if your broker does that for you. I brought up EIC because that's what I have. I only get 15%, but I drip at NAV. Then I take my 80%. So just to let you know, some funds I drip, some funds I don't. This one I drip because I want to make that extra, because I can do that. It's dripping at NAV. Here's one that I'm not dripping at NAV. NAV is above current price. So that means it's selling at a huge discount. Yes, it's only paying 11%, 11.5%. But it is at a discount. 11.5% at a discount. This one I do not drip. XFLT. I drip. Price is above NAV. I'm going to get it at the lower price. Then I can sell my 80%. So my return is actually higher than 14, 15%. Now, I can also hold it, take my 15%, because it dripped at that lower if I need to add a little bit to the fund to keep my funds up. A different play than yield max, but these are closed-end funds. There was a comment also about CLM. There is a particular YouTuber out there here, and when he boasts about CLM, he's talking about dripping at NAV because he thought he found a magic wand, which, by the way, the other funds are actually paying more than his fund. They also drip at NAV. He uses leverage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you're using leverage in a taxable account, because you're going to be in a taxable account to use leverage, and you're dripping at NAV and then selling it, short-term capital gains. Somebody just kind of glosses over that. He makes a real fast video, he talks fast, he's very charismatic, but he doesn't talk about short-term capital gains using leverage in a taxable account because I'm going to drip at NAV and then I'm going to use that money. Yeah, great. Taxes, ladies and gentlemen, taxes. Talk to a tax professional before you start thinking about doing this, or find a very good tax professional before you start doing this. Just word of advice, be careful out there. CRF is the same thing. They drip at NAV. Yes, they get 15%. Yes, they drip at NAV. Yes, you can get the difference between NAV and the price if you sell it. This is pretty good for a tax-deferred account, but in a taxable account, when you start doing this, it's short-term capital gains. Please talk to a tax professional before doing this. Please think twice about using leverage before you do this. Lots of risk. So hopefully I addressed some of this, because I want to make sure that you're getting the most out of these funds, because I didn't tell you I'm dripping at NAV or I'm not dripping at NAV. I'm going to leave a link below to where you can find, is it above NAV or below NAV? That way you can make the decision. Do I reinvest at NAV? Do I just take the distributions? It's all up to you. There's a little bit of work, but there's a lot more to gain by looking than just assuming. Hopefully this answers maybe some of the questions. One other question that somebody threw out that I'll address is the robustness of these funds. And he was talking about covered calls. I guess he didn't know that QYLD has been around for more than 5 years. A fund that nobody talks about, JEPIX, has also been around for 5 years. These aren't new. These are old funds. 5 years worth of history. I think people think that these new funds are the new thing. They've been around for 5 years. And if the funds fail to exist, I'll go to selling the cover calls myself on SPY and QQQ like I did before. Takes a little bit more time and effort. I won't be able to do so many videos because now I'm not paying somebody to go through the pain of managing that. I also don't get the tax benefits that they get, but I can do this myself. So it's not like it's a big deal to me. I can actually sell 0-day expirations. Just throw it out if I chose to do so. But I don't, because that's not what I want to do with my free time. I want to do YouTube videos. I want to do walks with my wife. I want to take the dog out and play. I don't want to be sitting there looking at a screen figuring out my options trade for the day. Hopefully that answers some of the questions. And please feel free to leave more comments below. It gives me video ideas. If you like this type of content, please like, subscribe, comments. Until next time, God bless.